Okay, what's happening? Today we're going to solve the systems of equations, but we're going to use a variety of methods. Actually, not a variety, just two. So, here's my first problem. I've got negative 5x plus 3y equals 51. I've got y equals 10x minus 8. So I have to use those two equations, and I can find the actual value of x and y. So, first off, my first thing I look for is a letter by itself. I don't have one there, but I sure as heck have one here. So I have a base, and when I have a base, I want to use the substitution method. Okay. So when I have a base, I circle the other side, make that a plus negative, and then you write the other equation. So negative 5x plus 3y equals 51. So, y is the base. Y, the letter y is the base. So I parenthesize the y, cross it out, and above it I put 10x plus negative 8. Now rewrite that so you can see it better. So you got negative 5x plus 3. Then I get to my parentheses and I insert y's out and replace with 10x plus negative 8. And then close it. Now after the parentheses is closed, we see an equals and then 51. Now I have an x here and an x here. I guess I can solve for x now. So I've got a 3 in front of that parentheses. So we distribute 3 to 10x and to negative 8. So that's 30x and that's negative 24. So I line up my equals, I drop my 51, I put my plus, and I put 30x and negative 24. Cross that out, and then you add negative 5x from the front. Now remember, the letters are on the same side, so you just V those up. Don't do minus minus or plus plus, you add them. Okay. So 51, so I write x down and add negative 5 to 30, that's 25. Then I add negative 24, and now it's pretty easy to solve. 25 times x plus, so add 24. So 51 plus 24 is 75, so we have 25 times x equals 75. Then I will divide by 25. And 75 divided by 25 is 3, so x equals 3. So now we solve for y. What would probably be the easiest to use the equation, write down the equation that's got the y all by itself. So we got y equals 10x plus negative 8. So 3 goes in for x. So I have 10 times 3, that's 30, okay? So y is equal to 30 plus negative 8, and the y is by itself, so I just then add those, okay? 30 plus negative 8 is 22. Okay, so y is 22. 322 is my solution. Okay, my next problem. We have x plus 4y equals 17, y equal to x minus 2. So we're solving for x and y. Okay, do you got a letter by itself? Well, there you don't, but here you do. So again, we're going to use the base, and that's the substitution method. So write down the other equation, x plus 4y equals 17. Slap a 1 there. There's no minuses, so no plus negatives. So you're going to replace and put a 1 to plus negative there. So you're going to parenthesize the y once again, okay? And then up above it, you're going to put 1x plus 2. So we got 1x plus 4, parentheses, 1x plus 2, okay? Close it, and then equals 17. So I distribute the 4. Not the 1, the number right in front. 4 times 1x and times 2. So that's 4x and 8. Okay. So over here, I drop the plus, and we have 4x and we have 8. Now we add the 1x into the equation. And again, x's get added, okay, because they're on the same side. So 1x plus 4x is 5x. That one's pretty easy. Plus 8 equals 17. Yeah, okay. I'm going to get a decimal, that's okay. So I minus 8, that's 9. So 5 times x equals 9, okay. Yeah, okay. Then I divide by 5. And x is 1.8. So put the decimal, don't whine about the decimal. So let's solve for y. Well, I got y by itself, okay. So y equals 1x plus 2. Okay, just write that down. 1.8 goes in for x. Now, 1.8, 1 times 1.8 is 1.8. So I have 1.8 plus 2. And again, the y is by itself, so we just combine those by adding. It's going to be 3.8. Okay. Okay, let's look at our next page. 3x minus y equals 30, and then negative 3x plus 7y equals 6. So I have to solve for x and y. Now I don't have a base variable this time, so I don't use the substitution, so I use another method. I'm going to write down the first equation for later. Might want to put a 1 and a plus negative. Now we arrange them into columns. So that's a 3 and a negative 3. That's a negative 1y and a 7 and a 30 and a 6. Now we want to add, so either the x's or the y's add to 0. Well, right there, that's going to add to 0. 3 and negative 3, that's 0x. Okay. So I didn't have to really do much. If I add my 0 right away, negative 1 plus 7 is 6y. And 30 plus 6 is 36. Now you take that out. So you divide by 6, and you get your first answer. Y equals 36 equals 6. Okay, now 6 goes in for y. So I take negative 1 times 6. That's negative 6. So you got 3x, and that gives me a negative 6 equals 30. So we got times 3, so I add 6 to both sides. 30 plus 6 is 36. 3 times x equals 36. Then we divide each side by 3, and x equals 12. Okay, 36 divided by 3 is 12. 12, 6. Okay, next problem. 4x minus 3y equals 8, and then we have 5x minus 2y equals negative 11. So I'm solving for x and y. Now I do not have an x or a y by itself, so I have to align it the same way I'm doing here. Okay, so write down that equation for later. Plus negative, plus negative, plus negative. So either the x's or the y's have to add to 0. Well, 4 plus 5 ain't 0. Negative 3 plus negative 2 ain't 0. So are these the same? No. Are these the same? No. So I guess you're multiplying. So you got a 5. So 5, 5, 5. And up here you got a 4. So 4, 4, 4. Okay, so 5 times 4x is 20x. 5 times negative 3y is negative 15y. Then 5 times 8 is 40. Now on the bottom, that's 20x. Negative 2y times 4 is negative 8y. Negative 11 times 4 is negative 44. Okay. Okay. So those are not going to add to 0. Right now they add to 40. Well, now they'll add to 0. But then the 8 goes to opposite and the 44 goes opposite. So now that adds to 0. Okay. Negative 15 plus 8 is negative 7y. And then 40 plus 44 is 84. We don't need 0x. That's why it's called elimination. Then I divide by negative 7. 84 divided by negative 7 is negative 12. So y is negative 12. Now to find the x value, negative 12 goes in for y. And I will be taking negative 3 times negative 12, and that's 36. So you got 4x plus 36 equals 8. Okay, so subtract 36. 8 minus 36 is negative 28. Then divide by 4. Negative 28 divided by 4 is negative 7. Okay, so negative 7 with negative 12. Okay, next problem. Y equals 2x minus 7, and then x plus 2y equals 1. Okay, so we will be solving for the x and the y. Okay. Well, right there we got a letter by itself, so I have my base. Okay, so I want to use the base substitution method. So write down your other equation. X plus 2y equals 1. We'll put a 1 there. Now the y is the base. And up above it, you'll scribble it out, but you'll put 2x plus negative 7. Okay, now write it out straight. You got 1, you got x, you got plus, you got 2. Then I make a parentheses and I insert 2x plus negative 7. Now after that parentheses, we had equals 1, so don't forget that. Now we're going to solve for x, but we have to get rid of the parentheses with the 2. So 2 needs to be multiplied by the 2x and then the negative 7. So 4x, negative 14. So drop your plus, 4x, negative 14, and you add 1x. Well, my x's are on the same side, so we add those. So it gives me 5x plus negative 14 equals 1. Okay, so you add 14 to both sides, and 1 plus 14 is 15. Divide by 5, and x equals 3. Okay, now we find y. Well, if I have an equation, I'm going to use the one that's got the y by itself, okay? Because then 3 goes in for x. So it's 2 times 3, that's 6. So y equals 6 plus negative 7. Now since the y is by itself, we just add those, okay? 6 plus negative 7 is negative 1. Okay. 3 negative 1. Okay, 8x minus 7y equals negative 3, and then 6x minus 5y equals negative 1. xy. Okay, so write down your first equation, because you don't have a letter by itself like you did here, so you have to use the other method, the E method, okay, elimination. So write down your 8x plus negative 7y equals negative 3. You're going to add, okay, but that's not 0 and neither is that. Not only that, that's not the same, neither is that. So we need to multiply the equations. So you got 6, and then we also have to do the bottom, and then 8. You're basically focusing on the x's. So 6 times 8 is 48x. 6 times negative 7 is negative 42y. And 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. Okay. Now bottom, 6 times 8, 48x. Negative 5 times 8 is negative 40y. Then negative 1 times 8 is negative 8. Now, add again. Now this is where I'm going to get my 0, but it's not going to work this way because 48 plus 48 isn't 0. Okay, it's 96. But I don't want to put 96x. I want to put 0x. So if I make that negative, then I have 0x. But then that goes opposite to positive, that goes opposite to positive, and then I add. So negative 42 plus 40 is negative 2y. Then negative 18 plus 8 is negative 10. Now you can ditch your 0x, don't need that. Negative 2 times y equals negative 10, so you divide by negative 2. And y equals 5. So 5 goes in for y. So negative 7 times 5 is negative 35. Okay. So 8x plus negative 35 equals negative 3. Okay. So you add 35. So negative 3 plus 35 is 32. Divide by 8, divide by 8, 32 divided by 8 is 4, so x equals 4. Okay, 3x minus 5y equals negative 7, and then negative 4x plus 4y equals 8. Okay, you don't have a letter by itself, so you're using the elimination method, the E method. So you write that for later, plus negative 5y equals negative 7. Then, that's finding the second answer. Finding the first answer, we go by columns. Remember, I don't write anything down until I know that something adds to 0. 3 plus negative 4 is not 0. Neither is negative 5 plus 4. And you don't have the same in either column, so you times. Okay. So negative 4, negative 4, negative 4. Okay. Then you got 3, so 3, 3, 3. So I have basically guaranteed that now I'll have the same thing in front of the x. I'll have to do one little thing, but so negative 4 times 3 is negative 12x. Negative 5y times negative 4 is 20y. Negative 4 times negative 7 is 28. In the bottom, you're going to have negative 12x. 4y times 3 is 12y. And 8 times 3 is 24. Okay, now we pull this adding thing again. Now they ain't going to add to 0 unless one's negative, one's positive. So positive, and then it'll be 0x. But then the 12y goes opposite to negative. The 24 goes opposite to negative, and now I can add. So 20, sorry, I did that right. Okay, 20 plus negative 12 is going to be negative 8y. 28 plus negative 24 is 4, so get rid of your 0x, we don't need that. Now watch when you divide, the answer is not negative 2. Negative 8 times negative 2 is not 4. Okay. So when you take 8 times a number to get 4, it's got to be a decimal, and it's negative 0.5. 0.5. Now that goes in for y. Okay, so we take negative 5 times negative 0.5, that's going to be 2.5. So we have 3x plus 2.5 equals negative 7. Keep going with it. Don't freak out if you get a decimal. So minus 2.5 minus 2.5. So it's going to give me negative 9.5. Remember, stick with it. So negative 9.5 divided by 3. Negative 3.16, repeating. Just put 17. Just get it somewhere so it's somewhat accurate. Okay. Yeah, that's right answer. Okay, we know it is. Okay, next one, x plus 2y, last one, x plus 2y equals 13, then x equals 2y minus 7. Okay, I got a letter by itself right there, so I'm using the base method, the substitution method, whatever you want to call it. You just got to know how to execute it. So we're not doing the columns when I have a letter. Besides, you couldn't do columns anyway because they're not lined up. Okay, so write down your x plus 2y equals 13. So 1. So replace your x with 2y plus negative 7. Okay. Again, that goes in for, that whole thing goes in for x, but you put it in a parentheses. So 2y plus negative 7. Now look closely, you just concentrate. After the parentheses is over, the operation was a plus, and then 2y equals 13. Okay, so I have y and y, so I can solve for y. We know one thing we cannot do at this step. If you have a y and an x, you did something wrong. Okay, you should have a y and a y, or an x and an x. 2y negative 7. Okay, so you got 13. Drop your plus. You have 2y negative 7, and then plus 2y. Okay, now 2y and 2y, that makes 4y plus negative 7 equals 13. So add your 7, it makes 20, so 4 times y equals 20. Then we divide by 4, and 20 divided by 4 is 5, so y is 5. Okay, now 5 goes in for y, but where? Well, we got to find the x, keep in mind. That's what we're gunning for. So use the one that's got the x by itself, because then you can just have 5 going for y and take 2 times 5, which is 10, and add negative 7 to that. I'll show my work. Okay, so 5 we know goes in for y. Okay, 2 times 5 is 10. So we have x equals 10 plus negative 7. And that adds to 3, so x equals 3. So 3 and 5.